Revealed, 7 supernatural steps to manifest your divine dreams through miraculous AI techniques. In the quaint village of St. Augustine, whispers of extraordinary happenings echoed through the cobbled streets. Grace, a devoted young woman of 27, felt the weight of her dreams tugging at her heart like a gentle breeze. She longed to heal the brokenness she saw around her, inspired by the tales of miraculous healings that resounded during Sunday services. But her family clung to traditions, urging her to pursue a safer path. Despite their well-meaning advice, Grace's desire to seek the divine stirred within her, but doubt began to cloud her spirit like an approaching storm. One rainy afternoon, as raindrops danced on the attic roof of her grandmother's home, Grace stumbled upon a chest, ornate and cloaked in time. The air was thick with magic as she pried it open, revealing an ancient book of prayers. The pages, yellowed yet luminous, shimmered with promise: 7 supernatural steps to manifest divine dreams. As she traced her fingers across the sacred text, warmth enveloped her, igniting a flicker of hope deep within. The chapel's familiar pews felt especially comforting that evening as the congregation gathered for prayer meeting. Grace clutched the book, feeling its divine energy surge through her. Pastor Jacob, a beacon of faith in their tight-knit community, spoke words of encouragement that pierced through her doubts, igniting a flame within. "Believe in the impossible," he urged, his voice resonating like a chorus of angels. As the prayers swelled around her, a beautiful crescendo of faith and vulnerability soared through the chapel, a moment where heaven touched earth. But then, the winds of fate shifted dramatically when her younger brother, a vibrant spirit brightening their lives, fell gravely ill. The ground beneath Grace's faith trembled, her heart racing with fear. Could those prayers truly hold the power to heal? The church rallied around her family, lifting their voices in fervent supplication to St. Jude, the saint of hopeless causes. Novenas were lit like candles in the dark, representing shattered hearts coming together, but amid the heightened tension, Grace wrestled with her own faith. The practical world beckoned, demanding answers her hopeful heart struggled to grasp. She sought conventional medicine but found only despair in sterile rooms filled with echoes of uncertainty. Her heart raced as the pivotal night of prayer approached, her brother's condition weighed like an anchor in her chest. The pages of the ancient text echoed in her mind, a reminder of the divine journey ahead. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Grace took her place before the altar that night, hands trembling, she felt the air electrify with anticipation. The congregation, sensing her vulnerability, prepared to pray with a zeal that pulsed like the heart of a mighty storm. Their voices rose, shattering walls of despair. Miraculous moments began unfolding, as testimonies of past healing surfaced, incredible stories of faith igniting hope. Just as Grace's spirit soared, a shocking event transpired, casting doubt over her very beliefs about faith and healing. The air thickened with uncertainty, and she wondered, how far would she have to go to realize her dreams? Would the whispers of doubt finally fade into the night? The questions lingered, drawing Grace deeper into the divine mystery that awaited. As the congregation united in prayer, a palpable energy swirled around them, weaving through the hearts of believers. Grace felt lifted, yet a shadow loomed large in her thoughts. In that moment, she clutched the ancient book tighter, grounding herself amidst the tempest of emotions. The flames flickered in the dim light of the chapel, casting dancing shadows as if hope itself was alive. Suddenly, a loud crash erupted outside, followed by a soft cry. Grace's heart raced, and she turned sharply to the door. A small group rushed in, breathless, with news that would send shivers down the spine of every parent. A terrible accident had occurred nearby, involving children from their very own village. The atmosphere shifted, fear mingled with shock, drawing attention away from her brother's plight and toward the humanitarian crisis unfolding in real time. Pastor Jacob, however, did not waver. He stepped forward, raising a steady hand to the frightened congregation. "Brothers and sisters, the Lord is our refuge and strength. Let us not be overcome by fear, but let us rally our faith to reach beyond ourselves. Tonight, we gather not just for our own, but for all. His words rang out, echoing with authority and truth. Grace felt drawn to his resolve, remembering the light within her as the pages of the ancient book whispered the promise of healing. She understood then that the divine venture was not one of personal triumph alone but a collective effort to manifest miracles for everyone in need. Her brother, the village children, everyone deserved the light of hope. At that moment, she resolved to stand not just for her family, but also for the community. The congregation transformed into a living body of faith, formulating plans of action while intertwining their prayers into one powerful tapestry of hope. Grace closed her eyes, envisioning her brother surrounded not by sickness but by a radiant light, surrounded by angels ready to heal. Suddenly, her spirit soared with insistent clarity. The ancient book she cherished was not merely a collection of words but a living conduit for divine inspiration. She could feel the supernatural steps it outlined beginning to reveal themselves. Each step danced in her mind like flickering flames of a fire, growing brighter with each heartbeat of faith. Grace. Someone called, pulling her from her reverie. It was Anna, her childhood friend, eyes glistening with urgency. "We need your vision, your strength." As the chapel erupted into fervent prayers, Grace felt the warmth radiate from her heart, enveloping her soul with peace. She spoke up, her voice strong and firm, "Let us pour our faith together. We can heal them. We can heal us." The congregation responded with an enthusiastic chorus of amen. "And yes, Lord." Spontaneously, hands joined as their prayers intermingled, interceding for everyone who was suffering. This was where the divine began to brew, a holy assembly rising together, ready to mend the wounds not just of their lives, but of the entire community. Grace prayed with fervency, allowing the essence of faith to flow through her fingertips as if she could already touch the hearts of the hurting. Yet, even amidst the soaring faith, a small voice inside her questioned, would they truly witness the miraculous healing? The stakes were impossibly high, and Grace grasped the tension between belief and reality. Suddenly, a hush fell over the room, as if the very heavens paused to listen. Would this night be different? Would their faith indeed pull forth the miracles they so desperately sought? With these questions vibrating in her chest, the air thick with expectant prayer, the silence held a promise something divine was waiting to unfold. What awaited them on this journey? The mystery lingered, wrapping around Grace like a veil as the next phase of her divine dream began to dawn. A contemplative stillness filled the chapel, a sacred moment where every heartbeat felt like a prayer itself. Grace took a deep breath, drawing in the energy and hope that enveloped her. As the congregation continued to stand united, she opened her eyes and gazed around the room, where faces reflected desperation and determination in equal measure. "Let us remember," Pastor Jacob's voice rose again, "that while our hearts are heavy, God's love is heavier still. He works through us, like clay in the hands of the potter, each of us shaped for his purpose." The beauty of his words sharpened her focus, igniting a flicker of inspiration within Grace. Each person present was a vessel, ready to channel not just their prayers, but the love of the Almighty. She could see now this gathering was more than a prayer meeting, it was a fusion of hearts and spirits, a symphony of faith. Intrigued by the possibilities, she flipped open her ancient book, the pages familiar yet radiating newfound light. "Tonight," she announced, voice steady and bold, "I believe we can share our gifts and unite them. If we each contribute a part of our faith, it will create a wave of divine healing. We can send it forth into the world beyond these walls." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room. Eyes widened with the promise of what was to come. Grace could feel it, a swell of collective energy building in their midst, an electric current of faith that promised something extraordinary. "Let our thoughts soar like eagles," she urged, moving with fire and passion. "Imagine the children, playing and laughing, embraced by divine love. Focus on them, picture their healing. We will begin with a single prayer, a prayer from each heart." The congregation nodded and began to offer whispered prayers, each voice rising until they melded into a harmonious anthem. Grace, too, closed her eyes again, allowing the image of her brother to take shape in her imagination, his frail body swathed in a golden light, surrounded by healing spirits. Anna, standing close, squeezed her hand. "What do we do next?" She asked, awash with determination. What we're doing now. We meditate on divine love. We extend it like branches on a tree, reaching out to those who need it, then we wait for the whispers of revelation. Time seemed to stretch infinitely, as the air became thick with faith. It felt like the warm embrace of God's presence. Within this atmosphere of togetherness and devotion, something profound began to emerge. Grace began to sense the stirrings of purpose sweeping through her. She whispered under her breath, what God had not yet revealed. The gentle rustle of pages snapped her back, the ancient book seemed to vibrate in her hands. With renewed fervor, she found a passage that spoke of the miracles brought forth through unified faith. Look! She exclaimed, her voice ringing through the chapel, electrified by the discovery. Where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there I am with them. We are not alone. God is with us. Suddenly, an otherworldly wind stirred through the chapel, ruffling vestments and carrying the scent of fresh blooms. Gasps of awe filled the room, eyes wide with wonder and an inkling of the extraordinary. Amid this outpouring, Grace felt a nudge within her spirit, a calling to act, to inspire. Now, let us write our petitions down. She proposed. We'll collect our prayers, weave them together, and send them out into the universe like arrows of light. With urgency, they gathered materials, and as the sound of pens scratching paper fluttered like wings, the energy intensified. I can feel it, she breathed, eyes closing again as she basked in the brilliance of the moment. The presence of the Holy Spirit wrapped around them, encircling each person in warmth, binding them together in faith, but as awakened spirits carried forth their intentions into the ether, another question stirred in Grace's heart. Could their heartfelt unity truly set into motion the healing they envisioned? The weight of hope settled heavily on her, a palpable tension whispering of possible miracles or daunting reality. Was this just the beginning? All around her, the echoes of prayer soared high, and somewhere beyond the veil, a definitive answer awaited. What miracle lay in store as they cultivated their faith together? The air shimmered with anticipation, ready to reveal what humanity had yet to dream. As the congregation melded their voices, the room vibrated with a sacred pulse. Grace could feel the weight of their intentions surrounding her, like a warm blanket of hope. Eyes remained closed, and hearts were open, each person breathing in a fragile yet powerful belief in the healing they sought. Now, Grace gently encouraged, let us draw our minds back to that first prayer we offered. Visualize it, carry it in your heart. We must not just send it out but also keep it alive within us. The air around them shimmered, almost alive, responding to their influx of faith. Each individual, lost in prayerful concentration, conjured images in their hearts. Grace could see the mothers, fathers, children all lovingly connected. She envisioned luminous threads of light stitching their souls together, uniting everyone's hopes and fears into one magnificent tapestry. Feel that? Grace whispered, captivated by the holy energy swirling around them. Anna leaned closer, her face radiant with reassurance. It's like a song, isn't it? We're all singing the same tune. Yes. Grace exclaimed, her heart swelling with joy. An undeniable harmony that calls out for miracles. Each spirit acts as an instrument, played by his hand. A hushed reverence enveloped the chapel. The mingled prayers vibrated up towards heaven, a collective voice becoming stronger, more resonant. Grace felt a thrill run through her at the thought their sincere longing, pieced together, could open doors beyond human understanding. Somewhere in that space of worship, an echo reverberated, as if another voice joined theirs, a whisper that danced among them like a breeze. God's presence was thick, wrapping around them as if he himself held each heart in his gentle hands. Then, like the flick of a switch, a rush of clarity flooded through her. Grace stood taller, filled with determination. Let us take this further. She declared, arms wide, inviting. Bring forth your thoughts of transformation. Each healing, each dream, write it. Share your vision of what life can be like. With renewed enthusiasm, the congregation gathered their pens again. They scribbled diligently, pouring out desires and hopes onto each slip of paper. Each request carried weight, as though they were sending lifelines into the unknown. Grace could see sincerity pouring from faces, tears mingling with smiles, all expressing the yearning for God's touch in their lives. A flicker in the candlelight caught her eye, and she felt a deeper awareness wash over her. You see, she began, addressing everyone seated, the act of writing these prayers is also a declaration of our faith. It's as if we're signing a contract with God, affirming that we believe He will answer us. The whispers grew louder, resonating through the walls, transforming the air into a delicate veil of anticipation. At that moment, a thought struck Grace like a thunderbolt. If we can send forth our prayers with such faith, can we also receive messages in return? Can we tune our hearts to discern the whispers of the Spirit? The murmurs turned to contemplative silence. Questions simmered in the atmosphere, a gentle uncertainty. Could they truly receive divine communication? Could their faith, this moment of unity, open a channel to understand what lay ahead? Now we wait, she said almost under her breath. Each heartbeat thrummed with potential. We wait for His guidance, for His signs. What will they be? Each member of the congregation drew a deep, cleansing breath, the chapel holding its breath along with them. The air was thick, and the sense of something approaching shimmered in the backdrop of their collective faith. What messages would emerge from the depths of their devotion? Would the heavens respond to their cries? The chapel sat poised like a feather on the edge of a wind, ready to fly, ready to reveal the next chapter. A hush settled over the chapel, fragile as the dawn's first light. Grace could feel the heightened energy, thrumming like the wings of a hummingbird. It wasn't just a room anymore, it was a sacred space, filled with possibility. The air danced with the weight of unspoken dreams and divine whispers, waiting to be heard. Let us be still for a moment, she proposed softly. The gentle clatter of pens halted, and the gentle rustle of paper became a lovely backdrop to their shared silence. Eyes remained closed, but the warmth of spirit searching for answers surrounded her. Let us open our hearts and minds, inviting the Spirit to share whatever it is He wishes. As they paused, Grace closed her eyes too. She opened herself more fully, surrendering to the uncharted realm of faith. A sudden warmth enveloped her, as if an unseen hand rested on her shoulder. She felt a stirring, a beckoning towards something profound. In that stillness, she began to see flickers of light, a divine constellation forming, shimmering in the dark. Each point of light represented a prayer, a hope from someone in the room. They pulsed with life, emitting a soft glow, merging into the larger tapestry of their collective intentions. Each desire seemed to echo a heartbeat, His heartbeat. I see you, she whispered, feeling compelled to share her vision. I see our prayers, alive and vibrant. Each one is a thread, woven into a larger mosaic, a beautiful affirmation of our faith. The congregation began to breathe in sync, sensing the rhythm of Grace's vision. There was a bond forming, a collective spirit-filled moment that connected their hearts. Anna's hand trembled slightly as she placed it over her chest, eyes shimmering with tears. Others nodded, their faces lit up with understanding. Someone else had seen it too. Now, let us listen closely, Grace continued, her voice almost a whisper. The Spirit is always speaking, we just have to tune our hearts to His frequency. As if on cue, a gentle breeze swept through the chapel, a palpable sign of the divine. Wisps of light danced along the candles, casting flickering shadows on the walls, and Grace felt that the air had thickened with the presence of angels, ready to intercede. Let go of any doubts, she encouraged, and let us imagine what that message could look like. What does He want us to know? What signs can we embrace? In those moments of silence, minds began to wander freely. Some began to murmur, piecing together their interpretations, words of encouragement, images of light, flashes of insight. I can feel warmth in my chest, one man whispered. It's like my burdens are lifting. Another chimed in, I keep hearing the word trust, it feels so alive. Joy surged through Grace as the congregation shared their responses. Each person's revelation was like a unique melody, threading together in a beautiful chorus of understanding. Trust. Grace echoed, excitement bubbling inside her. What a powerful message. Trust that the Creator sees you, knows your heartache, and walks with you. There is profound truth waiting, hidden beneath the surface of our lives. As the congregation continued to share, the atmosphere grew charged, filled with shout-outs of encouragement and heartfelt acknowledgments. That divine connection was palpable. They were each other's mirrors, reflecting faith back into the world, a cycle of energy igniting hope. Yet, as laughter and tears mingled, an overwhelming silence crystallized around them once more. What else are we meant to hear? Grace breathed softly. Each heart beat as one. The chapel seemed to inhale deeply, a holy moment pregnant with potential. What would come next? How would the heavens express themselves now? When that sacred question hung so beautifully in the air, something was surely about to unfold, something magnificent. But where would it lead them? What divine expressions awaited their discovery? Grace's heart raced with anticipation, urging them forward toward a future filled with hope and change. A soft rustling broke through the stillness, as if the very walls of the chapel were leaning in to listen. Grace felt a shiver of anticipation. The air was alive, charged with an expectancy only the spirit could inspire. "Let us breathe together," she suggested again, her voice steady yet tender. They inhaled slowly, filling their lungs with peace, and exhaled doubts and anxieties like smoke disappearing into the vastness. Each breath was binding, a thread weaving them tighter into community. The gentle flicker of candlelight danced along the faces of her brothers and sisters, illuminating their expressions of wonder and hope. Suddenly, from the back, a small voice broke through. "I see a doorway, it's large and glowing." Eyes widened, turning toward the speaker, a young girl named Lila, her innocence a contrast to the weighty atmosphere. Her wide eyes sparkled with a belief that made hearts swell. "It feels like it leads to something beautiful, something we've all been waiting for." A murmur of interest rippled through the crowd, the connection deepening. Grace stepped toward Lila, kneeling so she could see her fully. "What else do you feel, sweet Lila? What does that doorway tell you?" "It's safe," she replied, a smile brightening her face. "And it's open." The words resonated like bells in the chapel. Grace's heart soared as she sensed the spirit affirming their journey together. What if this doorway is the invitation to step into our trust? A chorus of voices echoed back, all weaving their faith into the growing tapestry of the moment. "Step through, step through." They encouraged one another, fueled by the sacrament of shared belief. Grace straightened, glancing around at her community. Lila reminds us that sometimes the simplest truths bear the most profound promise. We are on the edge of something wonderful, a transition that requires our trust. As we gather here, our faith builds the bridge across the threshold. In that moment, the air thickened once again, an unshakable presence enveloped them. It felt as if wings brushed past their shoulders, a heavenly confirmation of their unity, their intent. As if drawn by an unseen force, Grace motioned toward the altar, where a single candle's flame flickered brightly. "Let us share our fears at this altar," she articulated, letting them burn away in the glow of his light. One by one, members of the congregation walked forward, holding their burdens in their hearts like autumn leaves ready to be released. They placed their hands over their own hearts, then lifted their arms near the flame, whispering prayers and thoughts they longed to let go of. "Release our worries. Turn our fears into flames of faith," Grace encouraged. Tears flowed freely, laughter breaking through like glimmers of sunshine in the shadow. Even as sorrow was offered up, joy danced alongside it. Each flicker of candlelight seemed to carry their offerings higher, where divine ears awaited to hear, and then, a sound, soft yet vibrant, filled the chapel. It was as if a chorus of angels sang of hope, turning their whispers into a powerful anthem of love. Grace's heart raced. There was a promise in this unity that felt potent, something divine waiting to be birthed. "God is moving among us," she proclaimed, her voice gaining strength. "What more is he revealing? What miracle awaits to be unleashed?" The congregation exchanged glances, faces alight with excitement, uncertainty, and joy all at once. A spirit of expectancy filled the space. It was electric and alive. Grace raised her arms and drew them into a circle, calling them to focus again. Let every heartbeat join together in unity before the throne. We are called to a new awakening. What awaited them beyond this threshold? The question hung in the air, pregnant with divine potential, as the embodiment of faith grew stronger and the chapel pulsed with life. What revelation would follow their collective surrender? The doorway loomed larger, its promise inches away waiting to be unlocked. The light flickered as if it had a heartbeat of its own, pulsing against the walls of the chapel. Grace could feel the energy rising, whispering stories of transformation. She glanced at Lila, whose eyes shone even brighter in the glowing ambience. It was as if the young girl held a piece of heaven, a beacon for everyone in the room. With unwavering faith, Grace turned her attention back to the congregation. Can you feel it? The air is thick with promise. We stand at the threshold of something immense, and the doorway calls us forward. What will we find when we step through? A soft murmur arose, a ripple of agreement, encouragement, and a twinge of anticipation. Faces turned as they exchanged silent affirmations, hearts beating in time with one another. Nothing felt more communal than the shared pulse of expectancy. Let us dive deeper into our prayer, Grace urged, maintaining a steady tone. Each of you carries unique fears and burdens, but tonight, I invite you to convert those into faith as we step toward this glowing doorway together. Lila raised her small hand once more, capturing Grace's attention. What if we can't come back? She whispered, her voice fragile yet wise. All journeys require risk, dear Lila. But remember, with every step in faith, we are not abandoned. The Spirit walks with us. Grace smiled, a reassurance that settled over the room like a warm blanket. The congregation assembled closer, forming a sacred circle. Each person held hands, the grip steady and reassuring. The candlelight danced among them, bridging fears with hope and longing with joy. Grace took a breath, grounding herself in the moment. Let us express what this doorway represents for us. Together, let each heart take a turn to share. The first voice rose, a trembling tremor of faith. Freedom from doubt, a new beginning. A chance to heal. Another voice followed, stronger now, so that it became a unified symphony of longing. An adventure of faith. Shouted a man with tears shining in his eyes. As each declaration poured forth like living waters, the pulse of the chapel thrummed with energy. Grace felt the very air shift, as though the space itself resonated with their truths. It wasn't just about stepping through. A birth of something profound was happening right there in that holy moment. The sound of their spoken desires filled the chapel, swirling together with the flickering light. It transformed into something palpable, a sacred offering, a shared prayer reaching the heavens. In that glorious weight of expectation, Grace felt a wave of comfort wash over her. It enveloped her, grounding yet uplifting. We are not alone in our journey. Spirit is moving, friends. Look around, see this tapestry of faith we are weaving together. A soft gasp rippled through the group, as an ethereal glow grew brighter around the doorway, stirring hope like never before. Lila's eyes widened as she pointed. It's inviting us, it wants us to come near. Let us prepare our hearts. Grace declared, lifting her voice. Let every prayer rise with our faith and offer it at the door. As they lifted their voices in song, words of adoration and surrender, the walls echoed, the heavenly atmosphere thickened, and a radiant light filled the space. A unified prayer that transcended fear into pure possibility strengthened every heart. Still, the door remained slightly ajar, light spilling, beckoning them forth into the unknown. Grace glanced toward it, the questions tumbling into her mind. If they stepped through, what would they find? Will you trust? She urged, sensing the responsibility resting among them all. Lila gasped, her innocent face filled with hope and trepidation. What if we discover something we've never wanted? The question lingered like mist in the air, pregnant with divine expectation. What awaited beyond the threshold? What awaited for those who dared to step through? The chapel held its breath as the glow pulsed brighter, still waiting for the moment of truth. A decision was at the edge, and the Spirit stirred. What revelation lingered in shadow, just outside their reach? The moment hung in the air, charged with a weight of expectancy that seemed almost tangible. All eyes turned towards the glowing doorway, a portal alive with possibilities that beckoned them forward. Grace could feel the trembling hearts beside her, each one shimmering with a mixture of hope and trepidation. Let us breathe together, she encouraged, sensing the need for calm before the storm of revelation. Inhale deeply, exhale all doubt. As the congregation followed her lead, the collective breath stirred the atmosphere, weaving a sense of peace amidst their anticipation. With every inhale, they drew in courage and faith. With every exhale, they let go of anxiety and fears that had once weighed them down. The light intensified, dancing across their faces, revealing lines of both worry and wonder. Lila squeezed Grace's hand tighter, her little fingers warm against the palm. "Will we really be okay?" she asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Grace knelt down beside her, looking directly into those wide, earnest eyes. "Sweetheart, we are still living in the arms of His promise. What lies ahead isn't just unknown, it's filled with God's love." She felt a calm certainty settle in her heart, urging her to trust the unseen. One by one, voices rose among the gathered crowd, filled with sincerity and prayerful hopes. "I seek joy that overflows," a young mother called out, her face aglow with determination. "I desire to live without regrets," said an older gentleman, his voice rich and vibrant. "Freedom from the chains of my past," cried a woman, her tears glimmering like precious jewels in the light. Grace let their words wash over her like a soothing balm. Each heartfelt desire tethered them closer to the divine presence that surrounded them. The light from the doorway seemed to pulse in response, dancing rhythmically to the cadence of their prayers. Was it possible that their faith was stirring something powerful, something already in motion? "Together, let us step closer," Grace urged, a gentle fire ignited within her spirit. The congregation drew nearer, compelled by the warmth radiating from the threshold. With each step, the secrets of their hearts began to unfurl like blooming flowers. Joy mixed with vulnerability, longing with acceptance. The air sang with their hopes, and the spirit moved, unhindered, through the gaps between them. Suddenly, Lila broke through the tide of voices. "But what if what we find is hard?" she asked, her small face now clouded with anxiety. "Every journey reveals its challenges, dear Lila," Grace said, tilting her head ever so slightly as she spoke. "But those challenges often lead us to the greatest treasures. Hope, healing, and faith can't be fully realized without navigating the valleys. Are we willing to trust God, even in uncertainty?" A murmur of contemplation rippled through the crowd. Grace paused, sensing the pivotal moment. "Remember, friends," she continued, her voice a gentle caress, "God's plan may look different from our expectations, but it is always greater. Every step we take is a step toward His will, not just ours." The glow from the doorway pulsed with urgency, filling the space with an enchanting glow. People glanced at one another, sharing silent encouragement. Grace felt an insatiable urge to lead them through, to help them step beyond the familiar into the divine realm. "Let us step through together," she suggested. The light flickered in response, as if affirming her call. As the congregation moved closer, hearts synchronized in rhythm and purpose, a sound broke through a gentle whisper like a breeze through the trees. "We are not just crossing boundaries, we are embracing a miracle." Grace shivered. With one last glance at Lila, who now appeared radiant and eager, she stepped forward, her heart beating fiercely in her chest. The assembly followed, the once hesitant steps transforming into a rush of faith-driven abandon. Yet, as they reached the threshold, the air thickened, enveloping them in a quilt of divine light that both dazzled and concealed. What awaited them on the other side, in the vibrant, pulsing realms of the spirit? Would they emerge transformed? The chapel seemed to exhale with them, a collective sigh held in tension, waiting for revelation to unfold. And as the radiant glow swallowed them whole, the echoes of their shared longing lingered. What new birth awaited just beyond the moment's veil? What miracle would change their lives forever? At the moment they stepped through the doorway, a wave of warmth enveloped them, as though the spirit itself wrapped around each soul, intimate and familiar. Grace felt an electric surge shoot through her veins. It was a tangible presence, surging with love, hope, and a promise of what was to come. Around her, faces illuminated by the soft light began to shimmer with newfound clarity. Lila, still clutching Grace's hand, gazed around with awe, eyes wide as she absorbed the vibrant scene. The room was transformed, a kaleidoscope of colors swirling in ethereal patterns. It was as if the fabric of reality had been woven together with threads of joy and divine purpose. "Look, Grace, it's beautiful," Lila exclaimed, her wonder contagious, and Grace couldn't help but smile. Yes, sweetheart, it truly is, Grace replied, her heart swelling with gratitude. This was a testament to the beauty that awaited when they dared to step into the unknown, anchored by faith. Ahead of them lay an expanse that felt infinitely welcoming. Figures moved gracefully, their essence radiating peace, while the air shimmered with songs of love and harmony. Grace took a deep breath, allowing the melodies to fill her lungs with fresh hope. "Can you hear the music?" she asked gently. "It sounds like laughter," Lila responded, her brow furrowing slightly in concentration, as if she could touch the essence of those sounds. "Yes, laughter. It's the sound of joy being shared," a voice chimed in beside them. An elder woman, her silver hair catching the light, smiled warmly at Lila and declared, "In this realm, every heart rejoices and every soul dances in the presence of the Almighty." They moved forward together, their steps light and unafraid. Each conversation they heard was filled with declarations of faith, dreams unfolding in beautiful narratives. Grace felt the energy of the congregation push them onward, hearts synchronized in honest yearning. "We seek understanding and purpose." A voice rang out. "May our eyes be opened," called another. "What if each step ignites a piece of sacred truth?" Grace overheard, and her spirit leaped. These questions and declarations surrounded them like a rich tapestry, weaving together stories longing for revelation. But unease began to creep into Grace's heart as they approached the center of the room. The atmosphere thickened, a contrast to the vibrant joy around them. Here, shadows danced just at the edges, hinting at doubts that lingered in unspoken words. Grace's own questions began to form. Was it right to hope for healing when pain still lingered? Was transformation possible in the shadows of uncertainty? "Do not fear, dear ones," the elder woman's voice floated back to them, as if she sensed their hesitation. "Here, your spirits will be refined. The light and shadows both serve a purpose. It is through the struggle that we find our strength." Lila looked up at Grace, brows knitted in curiosity. "What struggle, Grace?" "Sometimes, we face our deepest fears and doubts only to uncover treasures within," Grace replied, her voice trembling with an inexplicable joy. "Like diamonds formed under pressure, we rise to meet His promise." The elder woman nodded, her expression affirming Grace's words. "And remember, beloved, sometimes we must walk through darkness to fully appreciate the light." The collective prayers hung in the air, forming an inviting canopy above them. Grace closed her eyes for a moment, breathing in the sacred space filled with hope. She sensed that each heart present was a flickering flame, igniting the possibility of miracles. As they stood together, uncertainty bloomed like a rose in the morning light. What would become of them on this journey? What deeper understandings awaited them in their next steps? With hope brushing against their hearts and courage gathered from every moment, they readied themselves for whatever divine revelation was poised to break upon them. Grace held Lila's hand tightly, as the shimmering fabric of light and shadow beckoned them deeper. What transformation awaited within the embrace of divine mystery? The air shimmered around them, and they prepared to step forward once more. As the vibrant sea of light enveloped Grace and the congregation, a profound silence bloomed, rich with promise. They stood at the precipice of something far beyond their collective comprehension, but a profound knowing settled within each soul. Grace gazed ahead, heart racing with anticipation. This was not merely an escape, it was a sacred encounter with the divine. "Let us journey deeper," she urged softly, as though her words were fragile lighthouses guiding them through this enigmatic shade of expansion. Each step felt like a heartbeat echoing through eternity. The congregation moved as one, sensing a tug of warmth and clarity that drew them toward a radiant altar glowing ahead. There, the air thickened with divine energy. Symbols of hope appeared, shimmering like stars against a night sky, illuminating the mysteries of their collective prayers. Each symbol was a testament to dreams cherished and burdens borne, showcased in this hallowed space. Grace lifted her hands, pulling the congregation closer together, each heart linked in faith, courage, and longing. "Can you feel the presence of God?" she asked, joy spilling from her heart. Heads nodded, eyes shining with reverence as they breathed in the sacred aura that surrounded them. "This is our promise. Here, we are seen, heard, and honored for every prayer we've offered." The words flowed like honey, saturating the atmosphere with hope. Suddenly, soft whispers began to fill the air, gentle but clear, like flowing water cascading over stones. "The miracles are here," a voice resounded, the timbre rich and resonant. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. "Healing is a choice, a blossoming within your souls. Trust that every struggle has brought you closer to this moment." Grace sensed tears welling in her eyes, warmth blooming in her chest. It was more than belief, it was the absolute assurance of God's unwavering presence. As the whispers swelled, individuals began to feel the flickers of healing grace touch their hearts. "Lila!" Grace called out, kneeling to speak to the girl with pure exuberance in her eyes. "Did you feel that? Healing isn't just for our bodies, it renews our spirits, our very essence." Lila bounced with joy, face radiant. "I feel light. It's like bubbles inside me." "Exactly," Grace affirmed, her laughter spilling out, multiplying as others joined in, the sound ringing delightfully over the sacred ground. Students of faith remembered, their courage ignited by unity. Their voices harmonized into a magnificent melody, reverberating through the realms they inhabited. Pastor Jacob stepped forward, raising his arms as the congregation echoed with hallelujah. The light swirled, gracing them with warmth, draping over hope with an ethereal touch. "Let us step further. Let us be the vessels of healing for ourselves and each other." His words summoned the very essence of their need, and a wave of resolute faith washed over them, washing away remnants of doubt. As they moved closer, others began sharing their visions born of the light. A young mother spoke, "I see my children learning to dream." Another rasped, "I find my voice again, no more silence." Grace recognized a palpable charge of transformation resonating within the chapel. Each heart poured out a fresh tapestry of dreams, woven together by laughter and tears. In that instant, the shadows that had danced around the edges began to dissipate, showing clear pathways of possibility. Those who had held burdens now felt them dissolving like sugar in warm water, a testament to the healing power present in that hallowed gathering. Pastor Jacob turned towards Grace, bright-eyed with urgent clarity. "This is the moment, Grace. Our faith has summoned forth miracles and compelled us to share them. Let us manifest a prayer of gratitude in utterance and song." And so they did. The sound that erupted was thunderous yet tender, a heart-esque chorus rising into the heavens. Voices intertwined as they erupted, releasing the pent-up urgency of hope and faith. Riveting melodies soared into the air, echoing back blessings of divine assurance. And in that holy atmosphere, Grace realized something lush and profound. This was not merely a chapter closing, this was the beginning. Their journey was woven through love, pain, joy, and healing, a beautiful confluence of their experiences, linking hearts beyond measure. Every face glimmered with renewed purpose, and as the final notes resonated, the light around them took a new dimension. It glimmered, held their dreams aloft like precious offerings. Lila held tightly onto Grace's hand, eyes glistening with trust as the elder woman spoke once more. "Remember, beloveds, you carry within you the light of creation, each powerful in your own right, yet mighty together." A soft breeze danced between them, whispering promises of hope and love. The air shimmered in response, and Grace closed her eyes, surrendering to the divine embrace that enveloped them. With faith like a trembling ember igniting into flame, they sent forth their renewed petitions, offering not just healing for themselves, but prayers of love that expanded into their community and the world beyond. Bound by this experience, they realized that each step forward sculpted their future. As the night deepened, the chapel filled with divine light, saturated in hope and healing. They had entered as strangers and emerged as a body of faith, ignited by the endless potential of divine love. As friends and family embraced, hearts filled with gratitude, the echoes of their testimony heralded the greatest truth of all: the divine is indeed within them, waiting to manifest. Now, people of faith, let this divine experience become a part of your journey too. You need to subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that inspire and uplift. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help these miraculous messages reach even more souls searching for hope. Comment below your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending. Your voices can inspire others as well. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. of faith and healing. Remember, true servants of God understand the importance of supporting this channel through these actions.